Hello, good afternoon. No, good evening, sorry. On this day 42 of our 99 days. I'm going to start right away because I announced very late to be live now. So I don't expect me to join. I think this what I'm going to share today. I have shared before in several ways, messages. And I'm going to do it once again so clearly and bluntly, because it's, to me, has been the most awakening insight of all insights. And that is that, what if it's absolutely true? Absolutely 100% true that you are creating everything in your life yourself. What if that happens to be 100% true? Whether you did it consciously or unconsciously, you created everything yourself, every single second in your life. And the reason why I'm emphasizing this is because if you believe this to be true and you can really embrace this also to be true, then it fundamentally shifts you from taking responsibility of every single second in life. The bad thing, the good things, everything. So what if it is absolutely your creation from the start of birth that you choose the family you've chosen? What does that mean if that's true? Why did you choose that as an unconscious soul? What does that mean? What does it tell you? Why did life start that way for you? Why did things happen in your youth that happened the way it happened? The painful things, the good things, everything. What if it's true that everything that you experience since then, since birth, is a result of your creation? Even the things that you cannot believe to be your creation, like diseases you have been given. And diseases you think you have been given because you have led to believe it's a genetic consequence. What if it's not a genetic consequence, but it's something you created? What does it tell you? And if you don't believe this, what happens with your mind when you hear this? What's the immediate reaction that your mind tell you when I say that you created everything? What is it if it's true that you created an intense loss in your life? Someone you loved so much and died so early on you. What if that's true? And if that's true, what does it tell you? What has it shown you? Why did you have to endure that? And how did it influence you? Because if you created everything, then there must be somehow a message in there, somehow a reason, somehow something to see or to be mirrored for or at. Because if you can honestly embrace this fact that you are the creator, which to me is a fact in the sense that I have looked at it from so many perspectives, from so many different angles. The quantum physics, the spiritual teachings, even the cell biology insights. And it all comes to the same conclusion. You are the creator of everything, consciously or unconsciously. And if you can really embrace that, then it also means that you are in full control, and now I mean control in the positive sense, of what you create in your life. So even if you did not like your past to be true, or your current situation to be true, or aspects of the current situation to be true, then you can at least believe that you can change everything from now on. And that doesn't mean that you can click with your finger and it changes. But technically it does. But somehow there are so many layers that influencing that creation of reality that it's too difficult yet for us as humans to switch from 1 second to the next second to a different reality. But theoretically, you can. And if in theory it's possible and things prove that it's possible in your daily life, and you can experience that by literally change your focus and change your thinking and change your creation, your imagination about what you want to happen in life. And it does happen. Then start believing it. But in order to really release what happened in the past, for me it helped tremendously that I fully embraced and took full responsibility for whatever happened to me in the past. Was my creation somehow. So I can take full responsibility of what happened. And even if it was somehow unconscious as a child, then still that meant something to me that I can take as a lesson, or I can take as a mirror, or I can try to see what it has given me. And if you fully embrace this insight that you create every single second in life, then from that single moment on, you're done with the victim role. Because there's no victim anymore. It can still be painful to reflect back on experiences. And it's not easy to fully accept your own responsibility for everything. Even when you had to endure something as a child because some unconscious system, call it your soul desire, soul purpose, wanted you to experience this. Whether it was for yourself or for the greater good of all. Whether it was for yourself or for your family system to change. So don't make this insight too narrow to the identified self, because then you really get into a conflict with your mind. Because then it might say, like, how can you possibly say that I created this myself? Because it was too. How can people who are tortured as a child, how can they have created that themselves? If you go into that direction, it gets really complicated for the mind. And because there are so many different influences to our conscious, collective consciousness that influences everything, but part of it, there's a part of you or a role you play in that collective consciousness. And if you can see that you play a role in that, whatever the horrific role is, or great role is, or amazing role is, then you can see how it tells you something about your life. And that you can take full responsibility of it. Even if it was intense and unbearable and unbelievable. And because it's so interesting that it's so much easier for us to believe we created the good things that happened to us. But if we believe that, then we also created the bad ones. At least in my way of thinking, I'm very black and white in that way. If it happens for small things, if it's true for small things, it must be true for big things as well. Because it's the same line of thinking, it's the same line of understanding, or it's the same line of knowing. So for me, when this insight really sank in the past, it really hit me like, oh my God, that must be true. It literally shifted me out of that victim role. It took me out of it. And it doesn't say that I didn't fell back into that role every now and then, but I could see my victim role so clearly at the very little details how it showed up. And it made me, it gave me a life perspective or a life attitude to deal completely different with how I looked at life. In such a positive way, in such a exciting way even. Well, not even. It is an exciting way. Because I know now I can create anything I like. There's only me who's in the way. There's only me, the identified me, who's in the way. There's even only my soul purpose who's in the way. Because even if that soul purpose is something that doesn't align with me, why doesn't it align with me? Is that the soul really that doesn't want to be happy? Or is it something else still that's in the way? Something I, as an identified person, still believes to be true, because that's where it gets so subtle. And then if I created everything in life, how much of that came directly from my heart as a desire? And how much was created by my mind thought who wanted to control everything? Well, obviously, a lot in the past came from my mind. And I can see that now so clearly. How my insecurities make me choose things, or make me stay with a certain situation because I was simply too scared, too insecure to change it. And that's all okay for me now as well. So I can fully embrace that what I choose in the past apparently happened that way and gave me the lessons I needed to learn. And now if I choose something and it still feels uncomfortable or gives me a lot of insecurity, then I can still see, well, apparently that's the lesson still I have to learn. So I sincerely, sincerely hope that you can embrace this insight. And please, please let the group know if you don't. And what is it that you don't believe in this? What is it that you don't believe that you are the creator of everything? Because if you say that out loud, then already this resistance is shown to yourself, and others may be able to react to that, or I may be able to react to that in a different way. And don't get frustrated if you don't get it immediately. It took me many years actually to really get it. But every time I didn't get it, it made me wonder what in that message I didn't want to believe. Because even that question already was so insightful, whether the message that I'm the creator was true or not. The fact that I didn't believe something in that message, reflecting back on my life or reflecting back on what happens in the world, already made me so conscious of what's happening. And at least it gave me an insight to contemplate on this and to think like, okay, well, then how can I relate to that? How can I understand all these disasters that happen in the world? How does that make sense? Why do we do that as humans? And collectively, we have to heal so much. And there's happened so many things in the past, things that we are led to believe to be true, or things that were true, or at least seem to be true because they're still happening. Why is murdering still happening? Why is rape still happening? Why are people still not free? Why are people still having awful lives and not even enough money to eat or to survive or to live safely, or all the tragedies that are happening right now? Why did the soul choose to live that way? It's such a difficult subject, and it really helped me to reflect on it and contemplate on it myself. So I'm inviting you to do that, and I'm not going to share completely all my side of it so much, because I think it helps if you just open up to that subject. And even if you don't understand it, then at least look at the things within your life, past, present. Why did you as a being, as a human being, choose that? And if you choose it unconsciously, if you choose it from the mind without being aware it happened, or it causes you so much pain or so much joy even. A lot of things we do unconsciously also give us a lot of joy. Then what does it tell you now about where you are and where you want to go to? Because if we want to embrace our heart desire to change things for our future and to follow that path and going from the mind to the heart, then it really helps to embrace that heart fully and trust it fully, that it will show you the way you want to create it. Because if you don't fully trust your heart as a guide for you to embrace life and to create things that are in alignment with you, then there's always this little thing within you that is still the disbeliever. And then that disbeliever is actually the one that creates the disbelief. So things will still happen the way it happened. So this full trust in that your heart desire is in alignment with you, and it will. And that's of course another belief. But if you are the creator, then you can create things that are in alignment with yourself. If it happens from your heart, and if it happens from your heart, then I believe that in the core essence, We want to grow and create a life that feels happy and joyful, but also can embrace from an unconditional love things that are happening. So we can heal and we can live in a higher frequency together as humans. And if we live in a higher frequency, if we are all letting go of our low frequencies with victim roles and conflict roles, and conflict energy and victim energy, then life gets better here. Not just for ourselves, but also for your surroundings. And that's what made me so excited. Like, okay, I'm really in control here. In the sense that I'm really able to influence it. It's just not, life doesn't overcome me. No, is that English? It's just not happening to me, but I can influence it. And I know this is a huge message, but you can make it really small for yourself in every daily life. And become really, really aware of the little voice within you that holds you back. And that one is so tricky. That one is really so tricky. It comes up with so many excuses and so many disbeliefs and so many confirmations that it's not true and it's happening to you and you cannot change it and it's just the way it is and it's the way I am and that's how I have to live. That's how I have to deal with it. Well, what if you can change it? What if? What happens with that? What if? What kind of message comes into your head if you say, what if I'm the creator of my life? That might be, there might be huge fear coming up. Really, if I'm the creator of my life, then, oh my God, I'm responsible for everything that happens to me, that's happening in my life. That's a huge responsibility. That might be feel that it feels sometimes fearful because you're not alone in your life, so you're also influencing others. And yes, you are responsible for influencing others. And they are responsible for influencing you. But what do you do with it? What of that's happening in life that others are responsible for is influencing you, and how do you deal with that? Where do you make it your responsibility? Like with the session about the family matters. How much are you responsible for all the family patterns that are happening? And what if you are responsible for most of it or some of it? How does that make you look at your role? You cannot influence each and every one around you. Of course not. But if you change yourself, others will change. They simply cannot get hold of you in your old role any longer. They cannot grab you in that old role if you don't like that role. But as long as you accept that role, anyone can influence you on that level. So then you keep creating what you created before, and it keeps happening because you still believe that that's the role that's unchangeable. And this 99 days is actually the journey of self-realization and self-empowerment. And the self tells everything. It's about you, me, every single being who is influencing his or her life from this role as a creator. And the self-realization part is about really becoming aware of each and every layer within you and clear the things that block you or hold you back. And the self-empowerment is about creating things in your life that are in alignment with your heart desire. And live from a presence that is so powerful and liberating that you truly found a source where you can create something in your life that is really in alignment with you. And this is what we are doing in these 99 days and in 41 days so far, 42 days. And I understand it's a lot. But this to me is the core of everything. And this to me has been the most difficult one even to talk about with people. Because it was just, if you're coming from a completely unaware state, people cannot comprehend this. So it's no use sharing this message on day one. It's even difficult on day 42. And it will be difficult even perhaps on day 99. But I trust that there will be something within you that grasps this message, and there's a deep knowing within you that this must be true. I hope that that's what's doing this session today. Not as an absolute truth, because still you can relate to it in your way, but at least start the process to contemplate on it and define it in such a way that it's in alignment with yourself. And then it's still up to you in your deeper layers, your soul, whatever you call it, to take this message with you and integrate it in your life. But anything I shared so far and will share in the next days, next weeks, has this basis on each and every level that's happening in life. So even the messages that sound crappy or unbelievable or not true or not relevant, or it has the same core perspective principle, whatever you call it. It's getting a little dark here, I see. So sit with this message and listen to it perhaps twice, and just sense what happens within you, whether it is resistance or anger or furious reaction or unbelief or whatever comes up, or hope or excitement or whatever comes up tells you something. Just see it as a mirror of where you are and how you want to live life and how you want to make something out of this life. And it's all good and it's all, honestly, all perfect. And what helped me is if I didn't like the roles I had to play in life in the past, or the insecurities I had to deal with, or simply the situation I was in, then I can and could look at it even when it was painful. But when that pain was kind of healed or felt less painful, I could look at the things like, it's just a role I play. I can choose to change that role. I can really choose from now on to change that role. Just gonna put on some light. It's getting really dark here. And this ability to choose, this ability to decide that I don't want to roll, is already so liberating. The idea is so liberating. It's not easy to change, not at all, and you have to repeat it again and again and again before it changes. But the fact that you can is, to me, so liberating. And even if I cannot change from where I am right now something, because so many things are influenced, or it has such a consequence for so many things, that then at least I can fully go into acceptance. Okay, then that's what it is now. Because I choose in the past to be where I am now. So no victim here, I just choose that consciously. And I'm happy with those choices because it apparently had to happen like that. If I don't learn something in what happened, then to me it's like, well, then it happened for no reason. Then it's such a waste. So at least makes everything that happened very useful to me. Then I can do something with it, or can learn something, or can change something for now and in the next moment and the next moment and the next moment. Because there is technically not a future, there's just a now. Like there's technically no past anymore, there's just a now. So what if I'm the creator? What does that mean to me? What if I always have been the creator? What does that tell me? What if I'm the creator of my future? What I don't longer want to have to happen? What do I really want to change? Start there. So make this list of what ifs. And feel what comes up if there's a what if that seems impossible to change. Because you simply don't want to deal with the consequence of that. Because out of love for someone, because out of compassion for your circumstances or your situation you're in. But then at least you know that you don't want to change that. And then you can fully embrace and accept it. And then by doing that, I can assure you it will change. Because it will feel differently. From full acceptance, it will feel so differently than automatically from that different state of being, new things will appear in life that are more in alignment with you. It's the surrender and acceptance and trust is so important. Accept in the sense like if you cannot change it now, then accept it and then surrender. and trust. And go back into alignment and into alignment and into alignment with yourself and sense what your heart tells you. And listen to the voice in your head. No, it's not possible. Yeah, sure. That's easy talk. But look at my circumstances and whatever it's telling you. Or I live in a situation that cannot be changed. It's just too complex. And I have to deal with other people and I cannot change or influence their situation, and etc., etc. But there's always a choice. So what if there's always a choice? What will you choose? Okay, I'm gonna leave it here. And I sincerely hope that this message somehow finds its, finds your heart. That's actually what I hope. Okay. Much love. See you tomorrow. Bye.